The patience of our members has been taxed beyond tolerable limit. NEC therefore resolved to embark on a 4-week rollover total and comprehensive strike beginning from Monday, 14th February 2020, which is today.
On February the 14th, St. Valentine's Day, the National Executive Council of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, announced a 1-month warning strike. On the expiration of the 4-week warning strike, it was extended by 2 months, against expectations of a full-scale indefinite strike. Academic activities have been grounded. Usual quietness takes center stage in campuses since the strike was activated in its chapters across universities in Nigeria. What more do you need to know about the details of ASUU's demand? The payment of earned academic allowance, the replacement of the Integrated Personnel Payroll Information System with the University Transparency and Accountability System, improved funding of state universities, and funding for revitalization of public universities, among others.
The NIDA report is 1. The renegotiation is 2. These are 2 key things that they gave time limit to. And the time limit given to for these issues to us, we don't know why it should be so long, up to 3 months.
But government maintains that ASUU's decision to prolong the industrial action is unwarranted.
No employee, no worker, by any principles at work. No employer dictates to your employer how to pay you. The important thing is for your salaries, remuneration to be paid as and when due.
The industrial action is now in its 10th week. While the strike lasts, it's believed that representatives of the Academic Staff Union of Universities and the federal government have been meeting to resolve contending issues. And it's expected that the truce will be reached before the extended warning strike expires.
Well, while that negotiation or non-negotiation is continuing, the students who are, some would say, the butt of the whole conversation between ASUU and the federal government are getting restless. A few days ago, they already made it clear, no resolution of ASUU strike, no primaries of any of the, especially the big political parties. That's on the one hand. But while that conversation or that thinking is going on at the national level of NANS, in Benin City, some activities have already begun. And one is wondering, hope we don't allow this to fester or continue to ignore it and not give attention when it's due. Well, this conversation is very, very important, but I'm definitely not having this alone without Maupe. Good morning.
Good morning, Ayo. I certainly wasn't going to leave you alone as well. And indeed, you're right on that one. The fact that students of the University of Benin have started a massive protest. They're calling it Uni Street, where they intend to take their lectures, act as lecturers themselves, and be the students on the streets, taking their lectures on the streets of Benin City. And it looks like something that could catch on, because it looks like this time around, the National Association of Nigerian Students is serious about this threat that there will be no primaries for any of the parties if the ASUU imbroglio is not resolved. This morning, we're joined by Comrade Sunday Ashefo, who is the president of the National Association of Nigerian Students. You're welcome to Sunrise Elite this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. The last time I saw you on TV, I do not know if you have been on TV since then, apart from the threat to, disrupting the primaries, was when you had that conversation with the Minister of Education, asking that something be done about the ASUU strike. We remember that the minister walked out on that particular conversation And has there been any response, any attempt at intervention since that particular walkout incident?
Yeah, thank you so much for bringing me to this show this morning. Yes, day after, I think that same day, a lot of calls appealing that is named for the minister to meet with us. That yes, our agitation are very, very correct, and yes, we met. We met at NUC.
So you met again?
Yes, at NUC, okay. And everything is settled. There is hope. Even by now, I was thinking this issue of ASUU strike would have been a thing of the past. The way he was talking emphatically that in the next couple of weeks, everything will be over. So we were, as a student leader, we returned back to our students and our colleagues told them that they should calm down, that soon we're a good news. But nothing seems coming, nothing good coming. Nobody is talking about us. Nobody is talking about our future. Rather, they keep, bringing momentums for political activities, and it shows that I'm responsible for the part of the government. That is where we are today.
It is a crying shame, really. I mean, when you think about the frequency of the strikes in our universities and the fact that, this has totally disrupted the plans of many parents who, foot the bill, sending their children to school, and even for students who send themselves to school. There is a growing number of students whose parents cannot afford to send them to even government schools and are seeing how they can put themselves through the schools. And a number of them are they're beginning to really look at how this affects the entire plan that they have for their lives. So right now, it looks like NANS has come up with something. You are threatening that there will be no primaries for the parties if they do not take into cognizance the ASUU strike and try to resolve it. How has that, let's say, strike action been taken?
Thank you so much. Let me start by commending my colleagues who are from Benin City, particularly University of Benin, that they came out yesterday to show and to resume back to our established university, that is University of the Street. University of the Street was established some couple of months ago. We were at the streets here in Abuja for like days before the camp president intervened on this matter. We also believe, as being a spiritual father, himself and the Sultan of Sokoto, believing that they will also talk to these people. But since all our mediators have been overwhelmed, and it seems that the government is not, ready, then, we felt, yes, like I said, if we fail to fight now, we will continue this way. And if we fail to take action, the generation coming will also meet these crises that we inherited. ASUU strike is over 30 or 40 years, going to 40 years now. And nothing seems, no government is trying to put an end to it. And we are talking about education. We are talking about education. We are talking about life. Our life is no more being discussed by our leaders that would elected, but rather their focus now is about election. And this election they are talking about is because of their own parochial and selfishness interests. And you all see it. This month of May is very, very significant. Day after, the next thing they will be discussing is about February and March, which is presidential and other election. And there is tendency for these people for not discuss about us if you allow them now. We are battle ready. The highest they can do is to shoot us. If they shoot, they ask their police to shoot us. If we die, the generation coming will know we die because of fighting for them. They will also know that they shot or they shoot us because they are preparing for election. But we need to take action. And that is why we said, and we mean it. It's not, we are very, very, very serious about it. What you saw yesterday in Benin is just for them to know. We are any moment from now. Why we pick the two political parties? It is the PDP that handed over to APC. But it is APC that is the incumbent government. If you have an opportunity to meet the ASUU and the federal government will tell you they inherited the problem from PDP. The ASUU will tell you this negotiation has been held when Jonathan was there. But what we believe as a student, that is, government is continuous. They should be able to fight on and find a solution to this matter. We should not be at the receiving end every time. And assault, they should stop using us to play politics. Education Nigeria should borrow a leaf from Singapore, where they are using, education to turn their country around. But it's kind of fortunate that we are in a country where most of our leaders today, who are governors, who are senators, who are, they are the beneficiary of the free education. But yet, in those days, they are talking about Ali must go. They protested because they stopped giving them chicken. Not because their school were locked. Not because they were receiving lecture under a dilapidated building. They are not protesting because of that. So, our lives should be better to these people.
But the question I was asking earlier is how the threat, because I am sure that, government knows that you mean business when you say that there'll be no primaries unless, and that is for the two major parties, unless the fact that students are at home is looked into. Yeah. But the question I was asking is, how has that been received? Have you received any calls since you gave that threat? Have you been invited to a conversation? Has ASUU itself called you to say, okay, we are about to meet with government, maybe that threat might not be necessary? What exactly has been the response?
Thank you so much. From the part of the ASUU, let me say that. I think those that I relate with in ASUU, like the ASUU chairman and my school, we spoke, and which I discussed with him, and from other ASUU chairman, I also discussed. They called, president. Yeah, you all know that our interest is for you students, and that you should also understand, which, yes, I continue to say it. We are talking about the fertilization of our university system. It's a kill for every Nigerian student to be 100% killed with ASUU's position. But from the part of the government, we have not received any call. From the part of public security, we don't receive any call. Yes, you all know, like I have told you, they don't even know if we issue a trust. Until, like I have said, until they see it coming, Nigerians.
So there's been no call on the part of government?
No, there is no call. Even the Bible says, if they don't see the sign, people will not believe. There is a miracle somewhere. So there will be sign. And the part of the sign is what they saw in Benin yesterday. The students are resuming back to the street. And in a couple of days, you hear our itinerary. And that's, let's see how it goes. If we are joking, if we mean business, let's see how it goes.
Okay, let me quickly flip this to Kayode, to Ayo, whom I understand has questions for you. Ayo.
Thank you, Markwe. Comrade, I recall from the conversation you had with the Minister of Education, as Markwe also referenced earlier. One of the things that I recall him saying to you at that meeting was that your association will also be involved in the process, because you said you believe that students also needed to be at the table when the federal government and ASUU are having this conversation. How far with that one? Because I know that the federal government has a committee looking at some things now. We don't know how far that committee has worked. What's the latest with that one? Has there been any overture from government to invite you to any of such meetings?
Thank you so much. If this can be done to us as a student, what about our lecturers who do not come to, channels or, media and every time? It is just a statement. Action has not been taken. If you said we are going to be part of it, which is the only thing that I said he can pick from the request, up to this moment, they have not communicated to us. Is it that via letter or text message or, on the dailies? So if ASUU said there is a lot of agreement and a disagreement between them, and yet they have not fulfilling it, is it not happened between us and them now? Over going to 2 months now, he said we are going to be part of it. And thereafter, a meeting has come up after that. Yes, he said, he told us that he's going to take it to discuss with some people, and probably the ASUU or part of the government, the negotiation committee, and to let us know. They even asked us to choose one. You want to be an observer or want to be part of, there is another committee, they make mention. But up to this moment, I have not, neither any of my executive, the National Secretariat email has not received any letter from them to be part of it. So that is to us. You know how many more they have done to our lecturers?
Well, comrade, one other issue that's a little disturbing for me from a number of issues that my colleague has raised with you is concerning this protest that you are talking about. We know, and no one can remonstrate the fact that protests are legitimate rights of anyone. And it has also been argued whether or not police should be informed to provide security, to provide protection and all of that. What are the steps that you are taking and that you probably also want to advise your colleagues in Benin City to take to ensure that miscreants do not take advantage of this situation? Any government would want to avoid a repeat of what happened during the NSAS, where a legitimate activity was hijacked by people who literally bad-mouthed the whole thing. So is there anything being done to ensure that the protest remains as peaceful as your association intends it to be, so it's not hijacked?
Thank you so much. Let me say this. Whenever you see any protest being hijacked by hoodlums, there is no hoodlum anywhere. It is the government planning or, mobilizing some people just to disrupt, or probably the government, they don't want such a message to be passed. But let me now tell you, as a student and as a student of history, we are battle ready and we are fully prepared. If you look at it, when we called for a national action the other time, nearly virtually all the 36 states, there was protest in Lagos, in Ogun State, in Niger, in Kaduna, in Kano, mentioned. Did you hear any casualty? Did you hear it's been hijacked? If they want to hijack it, we will plan for them. We know them. We know that the extent they used to go. They even go to the extent of even, buying some of the student leader just for them to use it against us. Using divide and rule among us. We have grown beyond that. We have grown beyond that. We are decent students across all the nation. We are matured. Our message is simple. It is about future. The message is ASUU should resume. The ASUU strike should be called off. So, if we are coming and we know you are a miscreant, we know you, we know ourselves. You are in a department, you are in a class, you are seeing someone that doesn't look like your student, you know them. So if the government are planning to use miscreants to disrupt our protests, we will know how to tackle them. We are always preparing, that is what we call, plan B. We always have the plan B for them. As they are coming, we'll give it back to them. So I can assure you that will not be, anybody, any thought of, violence. It's going to be peaceful. It's going to be peaceful. I can assure you of that.
What I have, also heard you say is that you are firmly on the side of ASUU. Do you think that, in some way puts you in a difficult position? Because now, if you're going to be in the mediating process before now, or if you're going to be drafted into the mediating process, you are not going to be unbiased. You're already biased in favor of ASUU. Do you think that could, bring out an outcome that will be desirable to both government and ASUU?
I don't think what I've been saying since. I've been saying this is our position. I said our position is we want the ASUU strike to call off. Indeed.
What I heard you say was that, what ASUU is doing is for your benefit.
I said.
And so you support ASUU, yeah.
I said the revitalization that is part of the agitation of ASUU is a key for every Nigerian student to kill with their demand. You, as you are here, I'm sure, I don't know, majority of our leaders today, political office holder, their children, you see them, they troop out of the country to go and celebrate their children. It is because if you ask us to join, the purpose of our joining is to see what these people are saying, because when ASUU and federal government meet, ASUU will say it is A, federal government will say it's B. That will give us a pre-information, a direct information. So if this person is saying A and this person is saying B, we'll be able to say that what they said, it is A. We'll be able to know that it's the ASUU that is the problem, or it's the federal government that is the problem. But let me tell you, on this matter, we see old federal government responsible for this incessant strike in our education sector. That is a fact. We should not shy away from that. They should show sincerity in honoring any agreement. Are you getting me? When you are talking about, there are some things that I think as a Nigerian student, we are in this country together, and which I think is part of the solution that I think the federal government should look at, and ASUU should also look at it. If the federal government wants to be sincere to us, it is not only ASUU, it's not only our lecturer that is complaining that IPPS is giving them issue. Other federal civil servants are also complaining. So if other federal civil servants are complaining about IPPS, then the federal government should find something about and find a solution to it. And again, to our own solution is this issue of supremacy, battle between them is affecting us. The supremacy battle between them is affecting us. We are always bear the brunt.
Indeed.
We are only receiving, we are the receiving hand.
Indeed.
We are the ones suffering. They say when two elephants fight, it's the grass that suffer it. And again, the federal government should also show, okay?
Comrade, I am so sorry, we're totally out of time. I can tell you that, when eventually, whatever action the union decides to take, that we will be certainly there to give it coverage and get the voice of Nigerian students out to those who need to hear it. And I'm sure that a lot of Nigerian parents and those who are related to students in universities, of course, also support you know, your stance, asking that attention be given to the tertiary education. But thank you so much for coming on this morning. Comrade Sunday Ashafon is the President, National Association of Nigerian Students, and has been speaking to us here in our Abuja studios. We take a moment now, be back shortly to ask what other ways can we find to mediate the crisis between the federal government and ASUU. In just a moment, please stay with us.